You may have heard on the news or elsewhere over the past several months about the National Association of Realtors in the recent settlement regarding real estate practice and compensation. One of the recent headlines I read said, "Biggest shakeup in a century set to hit real estate agents this week." I don't think it's the biggest shakeup in the last century, but it's definitely one of the biggest shakeups in the last 40 to 50 years. Two of the key terms to this settlement is prohibiting a listing broker or seller from requiring them to offer compensation to the buyer's agent. Secondly, the multiple listing service will remove all fields that include something with an offer of compensation. That will be eliminated. So basically, a buyer's agent will no longer have an offer of compensation from the listing side. But let me be totally clear. This doesn't mean that the seller will no longer be able to offer the buyer a concession. They will just no longer be required to offer the buyer's agent compensation. Now you're totally confused. You're like, wait, what's going on here? I don't understand. Starting August 17th, 2024, the seller will only be obligated to compensate their agent, the listing agent, when they sign the listing contract to market their home for sale. The buyers will now be obligated to pay the buyer's agent and must sign a buyer's representation agreement prior to looking at any homes. That means there's no more casually looking at homes. You must have an agreement in place in order to look at property. But wait, what? A buyer's got to sign an agreement now? Yes, they do. But here's where it starts to get complicated all over again. Even though you signed an agreement with the buyer's agent to represent you, it doesn't mean that the seller can't agree to take over that obligation that you signed on that buyer's agreement. I know you're totally confused, right? This is why I want you to remember the agent that you decide to work with matters now more than ever before. Negotiation is going to become a real thing. Continue to watch my videos because I'm going to dive deeper into these new contracts, the new changes, and how real estate will potentially be done in the future. And of course, I'm always available for your phone calls. In addition to the changes on August 17th, the California Association of Realtors released or revised 48 contracts to satisfy this new settlement. So you can see how this is a shakeup. Although it's not the biggest in 100 years, it's a pretty big shakeup. But hey, we're in California. I believe these new changes are going to make a huge difference on how somebody chooses a real estate agent in the future. I feel that there'll be more transactions with professionals and the casual part-time agent will simply fade away. There are a lot of real estate agents out there and chances are you have a relative or a friend who practices real estate casually part-time. But now is the time to consider a true professional who's educated and experienced in the business. Who you choose to work with matters more now than ever before. I'm always available for your calls, 805-660-8219, or shoot me a message wherever you're watching this video. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.